Afternoon, evening, everybody. Welcome to our Friday night quizzy quiz for Quizzers quiz. So you're very welcome. Just get all settled in, comfortable, relaxed, pens and paper, teams at the ready for our Friday evening more serious event. Saturday evening is a bit more relaxed, but you all know that by now. For those of you who are newcomers, you're especially welcome. And there's two rules. These are the honesty leagues for those of you who are interested in the old leaderboard, so no cheating, and there you go. No answers on the feed, but sure, you all know that by now. So relax, and we'll get cracking shortly for your quiz for Quizzers quiz. There's nothing to separate a million teams at the top of this old leaderboard, and all can change because it'll be your best 3 out of 4 Friday nights that determine the August victors. So I've upped the ante a little bit this evening, just a tad, because you're scoring far too highly. Anyway, that's just my opinion. Let's see if I can get YouTube going. There we go. So let me tell you what I've got in store for you. Hello, Hazel, Brona, Margaret, Paul, Danielle, Elizabeth, Brendan, Marianne and the old Dynamo Dolls, Aidan, Jane, True Grit. You're all very welcome. And thank you. Thank you for all your messages and your liking and sharing. We've got big plans as we move into September, but we're still in August. So let's just milk what's left of August, shall we, and not think too far ahead. So what have I got in store for you this evening? We've got 4 rounds as usual. We've got 3 famous assassinations. We've got 3 Latin expressions that we use. We've got 3 have in common, 3 geographical extremities that will challenge you to your extremities. A full course of 12 connections. 12 connections. 12 images, a few logos, a few cities, and a few time persons of the year through the decades. Then we finish with 3 famous headquarters, 3 famous isms. An ism? Well, you'll find out what an ism is. 3 famous Janes and 3 physical qualities. What's he talking about? Now there's a question. So, we've got 48 points available this evening. So at the end of each round, post how well you're doing out of the respective 12, and especially at the end, post your total score out of 48 with your team name, so I can upgrade the final leaderboards and do my mathematical calculations. And it's only a bit of crack. And in September, stay tuned. So anyway, we're all good. Lindsay, Deirdre, Charlie, Severine, Mandy, Mona, you're all especially welcome. How do I feel about tonight? I feel good. Apart from one little thing I'll tell you about during the old connections. I'm not infallible. I've made a little, but anyway, it's a level playing field, and it won't spoil our quiz this evening. 48 points available either way. So are you ready? It's 9 o'clock. Pens, papers, crayons, Zooms, WhatsApps, whatever way you're communicating, even with your teams near and far. This is a great way to keep in touch with those people you love or don't. Anyway, shall we start? Okay, round 1. 3 famous assassinations. Every correct answer is worth a point. 3 famous assassinations. Assassination number 1. Your clue is stabbed by Brutus and others in the Senate, 44 BC. Stabbed by Brutus and others, the Senate, 44 BC. Is your famous assassination number 1? . Jimmy, happy weekend to you too, buddy. Okay, famous assassination number 2. Your clue is shot by Mark Chapman, New York City, the year 1980. Shot by Mark Chapman, New York City, 1980 is your famous assassination number 2. Hey William, hey Kate, hey Stephen. And your famous assassination number 3. Murdered by an ice pick whilst in exile in Mexico in 1940 is your famous assassination number 3. 1940, ice pick, exile in Mexico. Who would that have been? Is your famous assassination number 3. Anna, Tempire Strikes Back, you're very welcome. So first 3. 4 through 6, your next set of 3. Latin expressions. Latin expressions, but Latin expressions we use. Latin expression we use number 1. By each head of population is Latin expression number 1. By each head of population is your famous Latin expression number 1. By each head of population. And we use these, even unconsciously. Good to see that more people are subscribing to YouTube. And keep liking and sharing, guys. It's all free. It's all free. Hey Keith, tuning in from Oahu, same time zone. Latin expression number 2 that we use. Under penalty. Under penalty is the Latin expression that we use number 2. Under penalty. Keeping an eye on my phone, keeping an eye on my screen, in case you think I'm being rude. Latin expression number 3. Famous Latin expression number 3 that we use. It does not follow. It does not follow is your Latin expression number 3. It does not follow. And don't worry if you've tuned in a few moments late, we'll recap as always at the end of each round. It does not follow. And we have just upped it just a notch this evening because number 1, you're just getting smarter by the week. And number 2, just to separate out the top 20 because there's little to choose. And there's maybe a few dark horses on the rails. Not that it matters. Okay. Okay, so far. So we've got your 3 Latin expressions. We've got your 3 famous assassinations. 7 through 9. 7 through 9. A bit like connections, but not quite. What do they have in common? 3, what do they have in common? 3 things. What do these 3 things have in common? Heelys, heel bop, and C oblique 2006 P1. What do these three things have in common? Hale-Bopp, Halley's, C/2006, P1. What do those three things have in common? See the stuff you learn here. Halley's, Hale-Bopp, C/2006, P1. What do they have in common? Okay. What did these three things have in common? The Pharaohs of Alexandria, or the Lighthouse of Alexandria. The Colossus of Rhodes, and the statue of Zeus at Olympia. What did these three things have in common? The statue of Zeus at Olympia, the Colossus of Rhodes, and the Lighthouse of Alexandria. What did these three things have in common? What do they have in common, number 2, or question number 8? And your final 3, what do they have in common? Humbert, Viking, and German Bite. Humber, Viking, and German Bite. What did these 3 things have in common? Question 9. Humber, Viking, German Bite. Okay. And now we're going to do our tricky. Yep, they're tricky. I'm going to give you plenty of time. 3 geographical extremities. And they're, tricky. They'll sort you out, so to speak. But I should never underestimate you guys. I've learned that. Okay, so 3 geographical extremities. You ready? Geographical extremity number 1. The most southerly point in mainland Europe. So, excluding all islands, the most southerly point in mainland Europe, the country. The most southerly point in mainland Europe, the country. Do you think so, Anne? Do you think I've overstretched it a bit? We'll see. Europe's most southerly point on the continental mainland, excluding all islands, the country containing the most southerly point in mainland Europe. Okay. Don't worry, we'll go through them all one by one, nice and slowly. Geographical extremity number 2. The most northerly point in mainland South America, the country. The most northerly point in mainland South America, the country. Is your geographical extremity number 2. No islands, The country, please, containing the most northerly point, mainland, South America. And a tricky million pointer. A million points is a question I reserve for something that I think nobody in their right mind deserves. It doesn't count toward the leaderboards, but it does count toward your ego. So geographical extremity number 3, not for leaderboard purposes, because it would just mess the whole leaderboard up, but for ego. A question that I don't think anybody will get is your famous geographical extremity number 3. Canada's most easterly point in the mainland of Canada. Canada's most easterly mainland point, the province, for your million pointer. Canada's most easterly mainland point, the province, is your tricky million pointer geographical extremity thingy-majigger number 3. Hey Bernie, how you doing? Okay, so that was a baptism of fire for those of you who are joining for the first time. Round 1, let's recap. Let's recap on round 1. Round 1 questions, and we'll put up our little graphic courtesy of Alan. Let's go through them one by one. Okay, nice and slowly. So we've got your 3 famous assassinations. Stabbed by Brutus and others in the Senate, 44 BC. Shot by Mark Chapman, New York City, 1980. And murdered by an ice pick while in exile in Mexico in 1940. Were your 3 famous assassinations. Your Latin expressions that we use by each head of population under penalty, it does not follow. And your 3, what do they have in common? Halley's, Hale-Bopp, C/2006P1. The Pharaohs of Alexandria, or the Lighthouse of Alexandria, the Colossus of Rhodes, and the statue of Zeus at Olympia. And your what do they have in common number 3, Humber, Viking. German Bite is 1. Okay, so there's not 4 items. There's Humber, Viking, and German Bite. And your tricky geographical extremities. The most southerly point in mainland Europe, the country please. The most northerly point in mainland South America, the country please. And Canada's most easterly mainland point for your million pointer, the province. And after round 1, I'll give you the answers first. You'll put up your scores, how well you're doing. And then we'll do our famous connections, of which we have got 12 this evening. Okay, so all set at 1/4 the hour. 15 minutes per round is my target. Your answers to round 1 in the quiz for quizzers quiz. How did you do? Well, we'll find out now, won't we? So your assassinations, we had Julius Caesar, we had John Lennon, we had Leon Trotsky, we had by each head of population per capita, under penalty, subpoena, non sequitur, it does not follow. Halley's, Hale-Bopp, C/2006P1 are comets. the Pharaohs of Alexandria, or the Lighthouse of Alexandria, the Colossus of Rhodes, the statue of Zeus at Olympia, 3 of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. And Humber, Viking and German Bight are region names on the shipping forecast. The most southerly point in mainland Europe, the country, Spain. The most northerly point in mainland South America, the country, Colombia. And Canada's most easterly mainland point, the province, Labrador. A tricky first round, but you're smart people. So, team names, scores out of 12. You see there's 11s appearing already, so my too much sympathy could be a bad thing, because I'm pushing the boundaries with this and with you guys, and you're good. Okay? Excellent start. There you go. 5 o'clock somewhere. I've maxed it out. So there was me feeling all sorry for yourselves and thinking that I'd overshot the runway, and now this is what I get. Well done. Okay. A full course of connections. Now, in advance, there's one of them. Oh, for those of you who haven't played connections before, you get 3 bits of information and you figure out what connects. There is one of them, but it'll be the same for all of you, where there's a little, what's the word, idiosyncrasy, but I'll caution you at the time. But anyway, let's not spoil our full course of connections. To stick with the old kitchen metaphor. Okay, are you all set? What connects? What connects number 1? What connects the Central Criminal Court, a liqueur, and It's a Wonderful Life? What connects the Central Criminal Court, a liqueur, and It's a Wonderful Life? Is your connection number 1. Yes, Samantha, a bit tough, but it's good. Welcome, Emma. Hi, Martin. We've been thinking about you. Hope you're keeping okay. Well done, Rhonda. Long way to go. Hope you're doing okay also. Thank you for tuning in. Okay, connection number 2. What connects a New York bank, National Lampoon, and a distance horse race? A distance horse race, National Lampoon, and a New York bank. Your connection number 2. Well done, Edwina. Hi, Emma. A New York bank, National Lampoon, and a distance horse race. Connection number 2. Connection number 3. I like this. I go around all week thinking, be a good connection. In fact, I wake up during the night thinking, that'd be a good connection. What connects? Edward Elgar, a riddle, and an encryption device for military communication. Edward Elgar, a riddle, and an encryption device for military communication is your connection number 3. That hit me during the night. No, it didn't. I think. So there's your 3rd connection. Edward Elgar? Who's Edward Elgar? A riddle? And a military communication encryption device. Connection number 3. Pace okay? Got the old Edward Elgar riddle encryption. Connection number 4. What connects a young male servant, Led Zeppelin, and Google? Is your connection number 4. Google, Led Zeppelin, and a young male servant is your connection number 4. Connection 5. What connects timber, a mathematical function, and a ship's record? Timber, a mathematical function, and a ship's record is your connection number 5 of 12. After connection 5, I'll do connection 6. What connects a UK Prime Minister, Brokeback Mountain, and Hampstead in London? Hampstead, Brokeback Mountain, and a UK former Prime Minister is your connection number 6. Okay, with Brokeback Mountain, former British Prime Minister, and Hampstead. Connection 7. What connects an abnormal current, a planar fracture in geology, and a tennis term? A tennis term, as in the sport, a planar fracture in geology, and an abnormal current is your connection 7. Tennis, geology, electrical current. Connection 8. What connects a coin, dental treatment, and a monarch? A monarch, dental treatment, and a coin is your connection number 8. when you get a connection, do you go, whippy? Or I can only imagine, because I can't see you. Vanessa, you were watching the wrong quiz. I'll slow down a minute. That wouldn't help. Connection 9. What connects Friends as in the show, Antarctica, and ER as in the show? ER, Friends, and Antarctica is your connection number 9. Connection 10 of 12. What connects a bird, skateboarding, and an advocate of low inflationary monetary policy? Is your connection number 10. An advocate of low inflationary monetary policy, skateboarding, and a bird is your connection number 10. Tricky connections tonight. And remember I was saying I'd made a slight faux pas? It's in relation to connection number 11. So don't want any of you getting cross with me, but there's one of them slightly, ever so slightly not technically correct. But I still think it's useful in establishing the connection. But you see, I make mistakes. Hard to believe, isn't it? I could make a mistake. Slight one here. What connects? Connection number 11. A seagull, the fourth post-war new town in Scotland, and a 19th century Scottish missionary and explorer. A seagull, the fourth post-war new town in Scotland, and a 19th century Scottish missionary and explorer. And there's one of them just slightly, I don't like making mistakes, just slightly, but it still can help you get the connection. The Scottish town, fourth post-war new town in Scotland, a seagull, and a missionary Scottish explorer. So, apologies, but level playing field. It's almost like a conundrum within a conundrum. A seagull, the fourth post-war new town in Scotland, in West Lothian, I believe, and this explorer and missionary, 19th century. And your final connection, and then we'll go through them one by one with the old graphic. What connects a Hitchcock movie, U2, and dizziness? Dizziness, a Hitchcock movie, and U2 is your final connection. So let's put them up, shall we? Your full course of 12 connections. So there you have them, the connection 1, Central Criminal Court, a liqueur, It's a Wonderful Life, the New York Bank, National Lampoon, A Distance Horse Race. Edward Elgar, A Riddle, an encryption device for military communication. A Young Male Servant, Led Zeppelin and Google. Timber, a mathematical function and a ship's record. The UK former Prime Minister, Brokeback Mountain and Hampstead. The Abnormal Current, a planar fracture in geology and a tennis term. A coin, dental treatment and a monarch. Friends, Antarctica and ER. The connection, 10, a bird, what connects the bird with skateboarding and an advocate of low inflationary monetary policy. The controversial one that I've warned you about, a seagull, the 19th century Scottish missionary and explorer and the fourth post-war new town in Scotland. And your final connection, what connects a Hitchcock movie, a U2 album and dizziness? Connections would make you dizzy. Okay, let's reveal the answers to your connections round. So we had your first connection, the Central Criminal Court, the Liqueur, It's a Wonderful Life, the Old Bailey, George Bailey and the Liqueur Bailey, the New York Bank, Chase, Chase Manhattan, National Lampoon, Chevy, Distance Horse Race, a Chase, Edward Elgar, A Riddle, and the encryption device for military communication was Enigma. Enigma Variations, Edward Elgar, Enigma as in riddle, Enigma as in the encryption device. The Young Male Servant, Led Zeppelin and Google was of course Page, Jimmy Page and Larry Page, the co-founder of Google. Timber, mathematical function and a ship's record, quite simply log. Heath, Edward Heath, Heath Ledger, Hampstead Heath. Electrical fault, fault was the connection to your abnormal current, fault in geology and fault as in tennis. The coin, dental treatment and monarch crown. Friends, Antarctica and ER was the Ross expedition. Then the Ross Sea was called after James Clark Ross, 1839 exploration expedition to Antarctica. Doug Ross, ER and Ross Geller, friends. Tony Hawk, skateboarding. Hawk as in the bird, hawk as in the advocate of low inflationary monetary policy. And the seagull, the 19th century Scottish missionary and explorer and the fourth post-war new town in Scotland, is Livingstone without the E. But listen, because two of them are Livingstone, I apologise, I screwed up. Jonathan Livingstone, seagull, and Livingstone is the new town, and David Livingstone has an E, so I'm not going to get all precious about that, and apologies for my mistake. Hitchcock movie, U2 album and dizziness is of course Vertigo. So out of 24, excluding your million points on the old Labrador, how are you getting on? Team names, cumulative scores out of 24. And after round 2, I think I'll do round 3. And round 3 is 12 images. You can relax a bit. So we've got a few logos. In fact, we've got 3. So 3 logos, 3 brands. Without any further ado, logo or brand number 1. Logo, brand, number 2. Good luck. And logo and famous brand, number 3. Vanessa, have you caught up yet? 3 cities. 3 cities from the image. So city number 1. Where's this? Number 4. City number 2. Where's this? And final cityscape, number 3, the city from this photograph. Didn't even notice Anna. Okay. Your final 6. 6 Time Magazine Persons of the Year. Going through, back through time. Not in any kind of order. Time Persons of the Year. There's 6 of them. Number 1. Who's this? Who's this? Who's this Time Person of the Year? Caption number 10. Who's this Time Person of the Year? Going to be checking your spelling, by the way. Number 11. Who's this Time Person of the Year? And final time person of the year. Who's this? Okie dokie, let's do a quick fly through your three brands. Your three cityscapes. Thanks, Kira. City number 2. Final city. And your 6 time persons of the year. Okay, so if you want to tidy up round 3, your image round, I'll put up the answers in 2 ticks. Okay, and after round 3, we'll do round 4. And tomorrow evening, a bit of a promo. Tomorrow evening is your final August party quiz in advance, the finest ever. We have tunes to die for. Music license, not quite there yet, but working hard on that, and a few other things for September, but we are making progress. But tomorrow evening, tunes to die for, a party quiz that I'm looking forward to. Okay, answers to, excuse that commercial break, your pictures or images. So there you go. There's your answers. We had Chevrolet, we had John Deere, we had Ryanair. The cities were Tokyo, did you get it? Tricky, Florence, Athens, Greta Thunberg, Jeff Bezos, Mikhail Gorbachev, Lech Walesa, Henry Kissinger, and Rudy Giuliani. So how did you get on in your pictures? So far, excluding the million points, maximum of 36 so far. So how are you getting on out of 36 as we go into our final round? Our final round, we'll start with, in a few moments, with some superb scoring. 3 famous headquarters. Okay, 3 famous isms, 3 famous genes, and 3 physical qualities and their units. Your final round on your final August quiz for Quizzers Quiz, as we get all prepared to move into the autumn, where this will be even more important. So like and share, it's all free, and I promise you there's developments afoot. So, ready for round 4? These are super. But you know that. Okay, our nice little Vincent's Kitchen Quiz community. Awesome stuff. Any requests, send them through. I'll be glad to mention. Famous headquarters. You get the address and you give me the organisation. Okay? Famous address, famous headquarter, number 1. 1000 Colonial Farm Road, McLean, Virginia. Famous headquarters, number 1. The address is 1000 Colonial Farm Road. I'll put it all together this time. McLean, Virginia. Headquarters of whom? Number 1. You're doing good, Anne. 1000 Colonial Farm Road, McLean, Virginia. Famous headquarter number 2. Boulevard Leopold III, Brussels. Boulevard Leopold III, Brussels. Famous HQ number 2. Boulevard Leopold III in Brussels. Famous headquarters of whom? Number 2. Excuse my French. Villa de Centenaire, Quai Duché 1, 1006, Lausanne, Switzerland. Villa du Centenaire, Quai Duché 1, 1006, Lausanne in Switzerland. I should have thought about this before I asked it. Is your famous HQ number 3? The organisation, please. Villa du Centenaire, Quai Duché 1, 1006, Lausanne. Lausanne, Switzerland. So McLean, Virginia, Brussels, Lausanne in Switzerland. Your 3 famous HQs of which organisations? And after your HQs, in a few moments, we'll do your 3 famous isms. An ism. So you're going to get a definition of an ism. There's 3 of them, 3 isms. Definition number 1. What is this ism? A political system into which all property belongs to a community and where all individuals have equal social and economic status. I repeat, a political system into which all property belongs to a community and where all the individuals have equal social and economic status is your famous ism number 1. All the property belongs to a community and all individuals have equal social and economic status. Famous ism 1. Famous ism 2. A religion, meaning literally divine path, based on the worship of Kami. Kami, K-A-M-I, the native religion of Japan, is your ism number 2. A religion, meaning literally divine path, based on the worship of Kami, K-A-M-I, the native religion of Japan, is your famous ism number 2. And your famous ism number 3. The practice of expansion by a nation through the annexation of foreign territories to create an empire. The practice of expansion by a nation through the annexation of foreign territories to create an empire is your famous ism number 3. tougher quiz tonight, but you've responded in style. Not that I would expect any less. And it's only a bit of fun where we're pushing the boundaries, and we've done so this evening, so well done. Tomorrow night we can relax a bit with our party quiz with wonderful tunes. Slightly more relaxed. It's only crack. After isms, 3 famous Janes. Famous Jane number 1. Who is Martha Jane Canary? Martha Jane Canary is your famous Jane number 1. Martha Jane Canary, famous Jane number 1. Martha Jane Canary. Famous Jane number 2. Famous Jane number 2. Jane Leeves played Daphne Moon in which television sitcom between 1993 and 2004? Jane Leeves played Daphne Moon in which television sitcom from 1993 until 2004? Daphne Moon, played by your famous Jane number 2, Jane Leeves. The sitcom. And your famous Jane number 3, Charlotte Bronte, under the pen name Currier Bell, wrote which famous novel in 1847? Charlotte Bronte, under the pen name Currier Bell, wrote which famous novel 1847 is your famous Jane number 3? Charlotte Bronte. We're in the home straight now. Final 3. And then we'll do a recap. And thank you, as always, for tuning in this Friday evening on our Quizzy Quiz for Quizzers Quiz. We'll update the leaderboards and see who has been our August champion, where your best 3 out of 4 counts. Not that it really matters, but it was just a bit of crack. So you're going to get 3 physical qualities. I want the unit that would be used to quantify this quality. Yeah, that's it. Okay, physical qualities. Number 1, the unit to describe or quantify. So the unit to describe work/energy, work/energy. What unit would be used to measure work/energy? The unit. Work, energy. Closely connected, but not to be confused, but deliberately put in to cause confusion. Electrical power. Electrical power. The unit, please, to quantify electrical power. So work and energy, the unit. Electrical power, the unit. They're closely linked, intentionally so. And number 3, frequency, the unit used to measure frequency. So work, energy, electrical power, be careful, and frequency. So there's your final round 4 in what has been a up the ante Quizzy Quiz for Quizzers Quiz, because I wanted to separate the old leaderboard and challenge you, and you've done good. You've responded well, and you have until Tuesday, if you're not watching this live, to update the scores, because a lot of people watch this recorded, which is totally fine. For those of you who are playing live, just let me know how well you've done. give me your team name and your score out of 48 this evening, and your recap on the questions. Right, don't want to hit the wrong one. So we had your famous HQs. We had, yes it was Anne, Deliberately Slow, So Even, 1000 Colonial Farm Road, McLean in Virginia, Boulevard Leopold III in Brussels, the other one that I won't even start to, the key is Lausanne in Switzerland. The isms, the political system into which all property belongs to a community and all individuals have equal social and economic status. The religion, meaning literally divine path, based on the worship of Kami, the native religion of Japan. The practice of expansion by a nation through the annexation of foreign territories to create an empire. Your Janes: Martha Jane, Canary, Jane Leaves, Daphne Moon, the sitcom plays, Charlotte Bronte, the novel in 1847, work, energy, the units of measurement, electrical power and frequency. And yes, it was a challenging quiz, deliberately so. I hope it hasn't put you off. We can do all sorts of things here, but the most important thing is you enjoy. If it's too hard, there's no fun. So there's a fine line. There's a fine line which I hopefully know how to tread. That's my job. Your answers to your final round. Well played, everybody. So there's your answers. The old McLean, Virginia. Langley doesn't appear in the official address as the CIA. Brussels, did you go for NATO? Lausanne in Switzerland, did you go for the International Olympic Committee? Tuffy headquarters. Communism, Shintoism, imperialism are your three isms. Calamity Jane, Fraser, Daphne Moon, played by famous Jane number 2, Jane Leaves. Charlotte Bronte, Courier Bell, the novel Jane Eyre. Joule, Joule is your work energy unit, and closely associated with the Joule, divided by time, joule per second would give you a watt. Watt. They are tricky, and frequency is hertz. So it has been a challenging quiz for you quizzy quizzers. Back in the room. Thank you for tuning in. It's 10 o'clock. Keep posting your team names, please, and your scores out of 48, and don't be it was a tough quiz. It was, and it's all relative. It is all relative. So you've done extremely well. Hopefully I didn't push it too hard. Tomorrow evening, join me please for a party quiz to die for. Tunes to die for. I'm especially pleased with tomorrow night. Thank you for tuning in. Any post, all I ask is you like and share, subscribe to the old YouTube. It's all completely free. Stay tuned for all things September and all things from the kitchen. Lots going on, but it wouldn't be possible if nobody was watching. So there you go. It takes two, babe. Okay, look after yourselves. Stay safe, stay tuned, keep well, and thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Well, you'll see me. Okay, bless you. Bye bye. See you soon.